Everyone, it's been a while, and here we are looking at a former project gun that has become another project gun. So we built this out of pieces laying around, thus we called it the FrankenBob. It was just for shooting, having fun, plinking, etc., with the pieces that we had available to see, well, what can we actually build out of this? Only thing missing at the time was a receiver. And so we bought one used. And this receiver is a basic Ruger OEM receiver. Had it Cerakoted in Marine Corps red. Mounted an FJ Feddersen barrel to it. There's a Shaw mounted to it now, and we'll tell you what that's all about later. And it's sitting in a Victor Company Titan 22 stock. I love these stocks. I mean, if you've never had anything that you shot from a Victor Titan stock, you're missing it. I mean, it's got a great palm swell. Love the angle on the pistol type grip. Built wonderfully, scalloped, so it's definitely ambidextrous. A great swell in the forearm that just causes your hand to gently wrap around it. You don't have to grip it hard. You've got quick disconnect cups in the front and the back on both sides. They make cheek risers that literally will work on any gun you might need them for. Spacers you can see to increase or lower the height. And of course, length of pull adapters as well. So, that barrel action also has a tandem cross bolt in it to run and fire the ammo. It's sitting atop a rebuilt trigger that has a trigger kit dropped in it. Set at about 1 3/4 pounds pull. Love those things. If you don't want to spend the money on a full trigger, you can't go wrong buying the kid drop-in trigger kit. You can't. An additional thing, which I talked about once, which we may talk a little bit about later, is the rear anchor on the Titan stock, which is called the spike anchor. And in that hole there is a large hardened steel grub screw that you turn in, and it drives down toward the back of the receiver. Then in the front, of course, you have your mounting screw that everybody's used to, pulling that down in the front. And then in the back, you have the spike anchor just gently grabbing the back end of that receiver and locking it into place. So there's 2 points of attachment in this stock for that receiver. And does it ever increase accuracy? Sitting on top of this is an Arkin Optics LH4 6-24 by 50. And on the front is an Eric Cortina tuner. Tuners on there to try to figure out some point of impact issues. Interestingly enough, even with a Feddersen barrel, we were getting a lot of craziness in there. But we have other Feddersen barrels, and we were sure it wasn't that. But one thing we did notice when we put this in the barrel in the receiver, it was definitely and seriously loose. So we tried a V-block with a grub screw. It just wouldn't keep it in place enough to increase our accuracy on our point of impact. We tried using a piece of soda can down in the little trough under where the barrel tenon goes through, along with that V-block, and got a little bit better, but not great. Took it apart and then went to an auto shop and bought a pack of feeler gauges and kept lubed them up and kept sliding them in there until we reached one that just wouldn't go in. And then we worked that in there as we inserted the barrel to take up some of that vertical gap, and then put the V-block in, and it fit in really snug. And we could tell that it increased our barrel alignment by the way in which we had to adjust the scope at that particular point. But then we got a lot of horizontal movement, so we switched barrels. No vertical movement, but a lot of horizontal movement, back and forth, left and right. 2 shots middle, then 2 left, 1 right, 3 left, 1 right. It just was ridiculous. We shoot a lot, so it's not shooter error. not any wind pushing anything left or right, let alone in the same time of shooting. No index finger dragging wood and pulling everything to the right or pushing it to the left. So we decided that it has to be simply the fact that we've been able to disrupt the vertical misalignment, but the tenon is loose enough in that receiver that we've now got horizontal movement only. When we've took it apart and put it back together several times and looked at the inside of the receiver port where the tenon goes through, it definitely looks like whoever had cleaned this thing off before we bought it had run through there with something very abrasive, maybe with a sanding wheel or a drum or a drum of emery paper to really clean it out. And we really think that's what happened. Is that hole has been enlarged to the point where it's now technically not functional, which is a shame because everything else on that receiver runs really well. So it's going to get torn apart, and we're going to, and we'll talk more about this later. We're going to install the CST CentriX-ELR receiver. You'll hear more about this in the next video. Awesome receiver. Can't wait to talk about it and then begin to shoot it. So this is it. That'll be going in, replacing this, and we'll walk through that as we go. So stand by for more from Roomfire 208 and the run-up of the CST CentriX receiver.